don't want to forget that. But yeah, this is actually such a cool opportunity to get you on here.
It's full circle for sure. It is.
It's so funny that you mentioned it's full circle because I was literally gonna say that. Also, just because it's crazy. I looked this up. The first time I ever listened to a Normandy song, or like it appeared in one of my playlists, was in July 2017.
Oh, so before you saw us with the fame, because
Yep.
I thought that was the introduction. Oh,
Nope,
okay.
that was not the introduction. I actually have
Ah,
a bit of a Normandy history in the sense that I discovered you back then in
yeah.
a very, very bad and dark phase in my life, also
Mm,
tied to very toxic people, which is also why I didn't listen to you guys for quite some time. Actually,
okay.
until you went on tour with the Fame, I was like, okay, gonna confront all that.
Yeah,
And
it's catching up with you.
it's all catching up with me. And it's crazy because, like, Dark and Beautiful Secrets is obviously all about, kind of the past, bringing that back up, thinking about your own stories and moving into a new phase. And that's why this whole thing feels so full circle.
Yeah, to me too. Well, you've had the reactions, and you were one of the first ones to react to our music. And I thought that kind of maybe made more people do it. I don't know how much influence you've had on that, but I've always thought it was pretty cool because people that react to videos or music mostly just do, they just do the reactions, but you also bring down like the lyrics and you go through the video and like explanations of that. And I mean, you can talk for about 20 minutes about a song, which is way more thought than I've given the song to begin with. But it's pretty cool because sometimes you've actually given me a perspective on like what I might have thought when I wrote the song, but I have forgotten about. I mean, that has happened. I can't remember which song that was, but it was one song that you talked about the video. And I was like, oh, this happened in the video, and that probably reminds them, like connects with this. And I was like, yes, it does. So I'm gonna start saying that in interviews. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I'm giving you inspiration in that aspect because with these kind of videos, I've only started them doing the way I'm doing them around the time I did my Jericho video. That's kind of when I
Mm,
started finding this new way of doing the review videos. So it's so
yeah.
interesting that you like mentioned that now.
Yeah. Go on.
Oh, we love Melvin content. People are gonna go wild for your dog.
Yeah. He's just walking around me here, so I guess he's pretty nervous about why I took the chair and put it in the center of the room.
Aw.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, for you, it's been crazy, like the past weeks or like days even after the release, hasn't it?
It's been pretty crazy, and it's a bad time to book an eye surgery, and it's a bad time to do anything really, and it feels like it's been the opposite of what I expected. Like I expected me to be very stressed and the reaction to be very chilled, but it's been the opposite way. So I've been very chilled and the reactions have been overwhelming to the point where I feel like I actually can't keep up with everything. So I'm sort of like backing away, and I get like we have a new way of working now on this album than we had on the last one, where on the last album we really did everything ourselves basically. Like we were in touch with everything when it comes to PR, when it comes to this and that, and interviews and everything. But now we have more of like a teamwork where we have the label, we have the management, we have the PR people, we have everything in layers, which means that everything that comes to me, like everything that actually narrows down to me, is the stuff that I really need to know about.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, I can go digging deep into statistics or into PR or like dig into these different areas if I want to. But I also have the option to get all the important news and all the important interviews and everything that I want narrowed down in like a weekly letter sort of thingy, like emails to start off with. Like usually we did everything in Facebook Messenger, or we did everything in like a group chat, and that is it's taken up far more time than I want to give it to stay healthy. So I love emails these days, and like we get over an email from the press talking about all the like the magazines that we've been in throughout the week, and like here are the radio channels that's played you and blah blah. So it's way more relaxing but the hype is real. This album is
Yeah,
picking up momentum in a crazy way. Like
but
I could
so
never
well deserved,
even imagine.
honestly.
Thank you very much. I think it started back when we released, like Jericho, the release for Jericho was a bit like what I expected it to be. But then when we released Holy Water, that's sort of when I realized like something is going on here. Like this is probably gonna be a bit more than White Flag was.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was around that when things started ticking.
But like, because you said with Holy Water, you had like a little bit of a shift of perspective as an, ooh, we might be onto something here.
Yeah.
I think like when you wrote the songs, was there a moment like that as well, where you kind of realized, ooh, this is magic in a way?
I mean, yeah, every single song on this album has gone through a magical phase in a way. There was more songs on this album, like that was supposed to end up on the album, that also had some kind of magic to them, but they didn't fit the narrative of what this album is supposed to be. So I think like we've gone through the process of doing this album, and with everything being delayed that many times that it got delayed, made us water through everything once again and once again, to the point where we actually said, should we try and mix the album ourselves now that we have this extra time? And we did that, and that opened up so many more doors where we felt like, oh, we can take the production and finalize that in the mixing phase, and the mix became everything that we ever wanted. And it's just, I think it's a bit of luck and also a bit of patience with these songs, that we know that with Chemicals, for example, that song sounded the way it sounds today for such a long time, but it didn't feel like it hit home until I sat down and mixed it. That's about where I felt like, oh, this is actually like the second verse was starting to form. Like people haven't actually realized that, as far as I know. We've done something we've never done before. I think we've never done it before, but we have a song, Chemicals, where both of the verses are completely different. Like usually we write a verse, and then for the second verse we have a different lyric for that verse,
Mhm.
and that becomes verse two. But Chemicals has a completely different verse, and you don't really realize it. And well, Mission Control has it as well, so it's not the only song. But we've done a lot of those things where it's a bit of a gamble to keep it, like, to have people memorize the lyrics and all of that, but then people are going to start having to memorize the two different versions of a verse, and it's like, yeah,
I
I'm
feel
just
like,
rambling on, but yeah.
no, it's
We
way,
had a lot of cool moments.
especially with like Chemicals and Mission Control, because I feel like, to be honest, I know nothing about song structure, music theory, or anything. So whenever I listen to music, I go very much with what I feel and what I see, which is very a strange
Yeah,
way to consume music, I feel like. But
no, that's the correct way,
you
I think.
obviously saw the reaction parts of my video. So for
Mm,
Chemicals, for example, I said that it feels like that song is like floating all around you.
mm,
I feel like it's really, you are almost on this like ride when you go through the song.
mm,
And that makes it very intuitive. So I feel like people, even if they don't consciously realize that the verses are different, they will feel it.
mm. I think there's a few songs on this album that is sort of written in more of an emotional way, more than a catchy way. Like at least they're purposed that way, but all of the songs are catchy in their own way. But I feel like Mission Control and Chemicals, as you mentioned, both of those songs are more of like capturing a feeling, where like Mission Control is like I started writing that production and the actual song before I started writing the lyrics. And I usually do that. Like I usually start with the music, and then I let the song speak to me, and like what the song should be about, and then I start with the lyrics. But for Mission Control, it felt like such a spatial song from the
Yes,
get-go. It felt like
100%.
somebody's floating in space in this verse, and that's where it kicked in, like the entire just calling Mission Control. Okay, but how? And we had that verse for such a long time. Like I got a feeling we're headed for a black hole. That was all we had for a long time. It's just the space theme, and then I was like, but how do we make this song like a real song. It couldn't be a song just about floating in space. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I take off my helmet, let's go on a ride. Yeah, we wanted it to actually make sense. So I just kept writing whatever the song told me to write, and then eventually, like with the core, the chorus lyrics, where we used to get lost in the. I'm gonna remember the lyrics now. Wow. We used to get lost to the sound of it. Oh yeah, but then we got lost in oblivion. All of that stuff was basically what I felt when I was listening to the music of that song, and I had to make the lyrics make sense, because to me the lyrics really fit the vibe first, but then I had to build a narrative around those lyrics that I felt was so good, like to the sound, the rhythm, like all of that is basically just what sounds good and correct to me. So that's one of the songs that, like, it didn't make sense for so long, but then I actually found that, like, it's about having lost that, like, actually I haven't told this in any interview, so I guess it's a bit exclusive, but
Yeah.
when I'm yeah,
Yeah.
when you're when you're raised in a church, at least the way that I'm raised in a church, the music in that church is so important for your connection with the religion. Like, there's a lot of built up feeling and emotional when it comes to worship, and that concept of worshiping, because it has a purpose, and it has, like, if 1,000 people, I've said this since Ingus, really, if you fill a room up with people, like 1,000 people, or maybe just 200 people, and they all sing the same thing, they all mean it 100%, that's going to impact people, that's going to fill up the room with that emotion. And when I left religion or church in that way, I felt like I was a little bit sad in that way, because I didn't know if I was ever gonna experience music in that way again. You know what I mean?
You were wrong.
The- I was wrong, but I had that kind of relationship with worship where I actually felt, and I can keep going back to listen to worship these days and nowadays, because it's one of the most pure way of having, like, writing music, because it has a purpose. It has, like, everybody in that band is going to believe something for 100%. It's not going to be the weekend going out on Super Bowl singing about blinding lights. It's going to be something really, really purposeful and hopeful as well. So Mission Control is actually about being a bit sad about missing that, the sound of the rhythm, and then we get lost in oblivion. You might think I have forgotten, forgiven, but God knows I tried till I killed the sun. It's like I've tried to write music that has purpose, but it's been like, it's really, really hard to do it. And I think we did it with the song Awakening on Ingus. That's the first time I felt like, oh, this song is kind of like worship, where, like, if we can get a room with 500 people scream, it feels like I'm alive, and really, really mean it, that's going to be like a room full of hope, sort of, and we can maybe, like, plant some kind of hope in people. So I feel now that having a purpose in music makes the music so much more worshipy to me, and it feels really good to have that without having it associated with religion.
Yeah. But that's so true. Like that connection that you experience when there's like just that energy of live shows.
Yeah.
It's insane because it is a way almost like a religious experience because the energy
Mm.
just completely changes. You can feel it a lot of times.
Yeah.
When suddenly the room, it seems like the room is like vibrating and everything.
Yeah.
It's really
It's
crazy.
crazy.
When I listened to Mission Control yesterday when I was going like on a walk and I was walking like pretty fast, and then a song, like a part of the song came on where I just had that picture in my mind of everybody jumping. You know,
Yeah.
it's something like the European crowds like doing that. The people
Yeah.
in the UK not so much, but the European crowds and
No, the UK goes down as well, for sure, on a Normandy show.
on a Normandy show. That's
Yeah, on a
I
Normandy
mean,
show.
maybe I haven't been to a UK Normandy show yet, but
No,
hopefully in the fall.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, these songs are gonna be pretty crazy live, I feel like.
yeah, it's gonna be hard picking a set list. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking to so many people over the last like couple days and weeks, as in like, okay, which are your favorite Normandy songs, or what songs would you put on the set list? And
Yeah.
everyone's like, I don't even know how to choose. So I don't know how you guys are gonna even choose.
We've been talking about doing 3 different set lists and then just like tossing a dice before we go on stage, like which set list is gonna be tonight. So maybe in Cologne we play one set list and then we switch like Mission Control for Burn Me Alive, and we switch Renegade for Thrown in the Gutter. So people are actually might gonna be a little bit sad, but I've seen that happen so many times. Like I've been going to John Mayer concerts 2 times, and he always brings a different set list for every single city he goes to, and it makes me want to go and see him more times on that tour. But
Yeah.
I mean, for us, it's not really a commercial interest. It's more of having our backs cleared when people are gonna start questioning why we didn't play Renegade on the tour, and we could just say, "Oh, we played it yesterday." So that's better for us, and it's more fun as well. So we need to learn all the songs.
And you get to like tour all the songs. I mean, you've been waiting
Yeah,
and waiting and
yeah.
waiting. So it's only fair that you get to like enjoy a bit of all of them.
Yeah, and it's also very good for me if I feel like my voice is on top one day and like I really, really feel good, then I can play a set list where I feel confident that I can really go through with it. And then the other day we might have a day where I feel less ready for that kind of set list, and we can bring in a set list with a bit lower songs. So like wait with Jericho and Babylon towards the end to make it still pop, but easier for me to go through with, because we're gonna play for like 6 nights in a row and then one night off and then 6 nights in a row and then one night off. So it's gonna be pretty rough, but I really want to make it worthwhile for everybody. So I guess like we're gonna have to look into different set lists.
But yeah, like you said, I'll also like just switch things up for you, for everyone. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's gonna be crazy. Like you said, like having 6 days on when you go on tour, going
Yeah.
from basically no touring at all to like hardcore touring. How do you feel like you will cope with that? Will you be fine?
I will be fine. I think I will be fine. I've always been fine, but now it's been a very long time since we toured, so I guess just gotta. We've been a band that's really never rehearsed because we all live very far away. We used to live very far away from each other, but now we live very close. So I think we're gonna start rehearsing probably in like the next month or something, and just playing around with the songs and see if we could do something different with them and stuff like that. So we're all very. It's like with the album overall, we're very excited and we're happy that we have so much time because we can be really prepared for when this tour goes down.
And it's also so nice that you guys are like like closer together now, and that you
Yeah.
can actually see each other as well.
Yeah, hanging out at least once a week, which is pretty nice. Going from being a distant band who's probably been hanging out maybe once a quarter, which is not good enough.
But that probably also massively changed the whole writing process for this, like having each other
Yeah.
around all the time.
Yeah, it's been more of an equal process for all of us. Like White Flag and Ingus was a lot of like my creation, sort of. And I think, well, we've had sort of the same process on this where I've written the songs pretty much like 70%. And but for the rest of the like we've met up at once a week and really gone through this so everybody is in the process and everybody feels like we're doing the right thing here and we're doing the right thing here. And I'm very open to hearing, like I was actually and people are going to be so mad at this, but I was actually all good to delete Mission Control. Yeah, but that was before we had the entire song structure. It just felt like a weird song to me. It was like there's basically no guitar until the riff comes in. It was hard getting the drums in. Every time I started adding drums in the first verse, it felt really weird until Anton actually recorded the proper real drums, because then it felt more dynamic and all that stuff. So I'm very open to hearing what the rest of the both label, but mostly like Håkan and Anton, what they think really will work, and I'll try to push that idea. Like because I produce it and mix it, I need to be as excited as I can be when I start mixing, so I don't sit there and hate the song. So I'm very happy that both of them really stood up for some of the songs on this album, and made us all go through the process of hating them and then loving them to the extent that we could.
What, like, you've mentioned this a few times, that this is like the first time you've actually mixed the songs. It was obviously you
Yeah.
also taking a bit of like a plunge there, being like, okay, I'm just gonna give this a shot. How was that, like, just doing that, where you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna do it, whatever?
A little bit like that. No, but yeah, we had a mix on Jericho that was mixed by the guy who did Ingus and White Flag. So we were very happy with that mix. It sounded great. It was just a matter of, I don't know, I just felt like the demo or the production demo before sending it to mix, compared to his mix was a little bit better, but at the same time I felt like ours were more true to what we wanted. And there's a level of how much you can get somebody to understand what you're really looking for without, you know, I don't know, without crossing and making them really, really, really mad at you for sending more notes. But so we were the song, we did get it mastered and everything. We met up with him and Jericho was finished, so that it has a mix. But then we just decided to mix that song and compared both of the mixes, and we sent it off to the label, and everybody just agreed that both mixes are great. They're a bit different, but go with whatever you like the most. And then I went in and I mixed Holy Water and I think it was Hostage to just try it out, and it sounded great. So
Was there like a particular song though you were like really excited about when you were working on it, or are you just gonna say all of them?
like mixing wise or overall?
Wise.
Mixing wise, I was the most nervous about Mission Control, but I was the most excited about Holy Water because that song has so many different layers and it has so much different things that wants to be in the foreground. Like when that, I'm gonna open up the project and go through it and release that on YouTube, but there's so much stuff in that song, but everything makes so much sense to me, especially when we made, we had a, okay, I'm just gonna take it from the start. We had the first verse, and then we had an intro first, and then we had the chorus, and then the verse, and the chorus, and then the second verse, and the second verse goes into that bridge section. We speak in tongues, worship the sun thingy, and that was empty for so long. That was empty for so long. We didn't know what to add into it, and then we had the second chorus, and then we had that little bridge section, which was at that point as well empty. And it was me and Håkan. I think he and I spent in a row maybe 4 5 hours on just that bridge section of like trying different melodies. And it was basically me shooting into the microphone, and he said no, 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 no. And and the thing that we came up with was one of the weirdest ideas that I've ever written. Like the way that we sing is like, we speak in tongues, worship the sun till kingdom come, like someone, it's sort of like a, I don't know, it's like a mantra from Africa or something. It's something that I've never done ever before, and I think people pay too little attention to that part because I think it's a stroke of, I'm not gonna say genius, but it's something that is, it
No,
is so,
very
no, no,
humble,
no,
very,
no,
very
no, very
humble.
humble. It is so out of that genre that it's insane, and I think we are crazy to let that one go through. But I'm so happy that we did, and it didn't make sense for so long until I added all the harmonies, and we started calling it like the monks, the monk choir. Do you say monk or like the priest? Yeah, monks.
Yeah.
Because it's so like you see them with the hoods on. It's like,
Yeah.
speak in tongues, worship the sun till kingdom come, like someone's listening. And then it's just a long pause, and then speak in tongues. Like it doesn't make any sense at all. But I'm so happy that it's in there.
But
But
yeah,
that song was the most fun to
that makes
mix.
the song so cool. Like there, within all these songs, there's so many elements where I'm like, this is so interesting. And no matter how many times I listen to the song, like I notice different details. Also, when you listen
Yeah,
to it with different speakers, different headphones, you
Yeah.
always notice like different elements, and I'm like, okay, if I listen to the song maybe like 50 more times, will I still notice other things?
Yeah, I mean, there's parts of that song, like we usually in a song you have like transitions. Oh wait, somebody's calling. Oh my, my mom just called me. I'm sorry.
Oh, you should be like, Mom,
I'm
can't.
gonna put mom. I'm gonna put my here on do not disturb. Okay, wait. I need to make you bigger here. How do I do that? Boom. Okay, we're back. So you have transitions, and usually you have some kind of sweep going up, like a or whatever, just to make it feel like you're onto something. But in that song, I decided to do something where I took the microphone and I did this weird noise, which was basically like yeah, like that. It's really really weird. Like, yeah, yeah, and I added like a reverb to that, and then I bounced that and reversed it. So it's like yeah, and it's so weird, but it really 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 made the song, like all different parts of that song make so much sense for the sound that it has. So that's why I think it's probably the most thought through song on the entire album. That song and Hostage is probably the two, like the songs that we spent the most time with to make sure that it has everything. Especially because like we have a breakdown at the end of Holy Water, which is like how do we get there without sounding weird? Uh, and that was weird because we had the build up first, and that was supposed to kick into the breakdown straight away. But then we added the chorus before the breakdown, and then the bridge section after that. It was just like it was chaos, but it makes so much sense now afterwards.
But like that basically shows that sometimes you just need to stick with things, even if you're like that's never gonna turn out like as
Yeah,
anything useful, but just keep on pushing it. I mean, not it doesn't always make sense to keep on pushing stuff because some things just will never work out no matter how hard you try to do it. But other
yeah,
times you have to get like past that point where you're like, nah, 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 nah. And then suddenly it's like, yes, okay, we got
yeah.
something right here.
That was especially when we added the monk choir to the breakdown at the end. That was like nobody saw it coming because we had the breakdown with the screams, and then it was like, yeah, sure, we go into this instrumental breakdown after this, right? But then we just took that and we added on top of that. It was just we haven't had a moment like that since we wrote the song Believe, because Believe was also like that was a chorus we had way back when we were still a screaming band, and we wrote a song and then we just took that a cappella on top of that chorus, and it just fits so good. And those when it clicks like that, it makes everything worthwhile.
I think that's definitely also something really cool about the album is that it just caters to a lot of like tastes as well because you do have these like heavier screaming parts also like and Renegade thrown in the gutter obviously
Yeah.
you have like a bit of like screaming everywhere that suddenly it just hits you out of the blue and you're like whoa
Yeah.
okay okay we can go with this but at the same time everything is like really melodic there's a lot of harmonies in it it's so interesting because my mom she despises my music taste so much she complains every time she hears any of my music on in the
Okay.
house but sometimes I'll have like a Normandie song on and she'll be like oh that doesn't sound too bad until it hits and then she's like nope I'm out of here because she's like
Oh yeah.
there's so many harmonies in here it's so melodic it's
Yeah.
so nice it flows so nice and then that happens.
Yeah, but that's kind of like my mom's idea of us as well. It's like she can finally listen to us now, which is pretty
Wow,
nice. Yeah.
success. And within like everyone in your family and everyone, are they? I bet they're like super hyped for everything.
They are they're hyped for sure, but I think that I've been very like I've kept my distance, and I'm like I'm not the black sheep of the family, but I think we're not the ones that I don't know, we have like a group chat where everybody's like trying to lift each other up and be like, oh, so it's basically I'm not gonna go into the to our family group chat and be like, look at what I did done, blah blah blah.
Exactly,
And
of
they
course.
yeah, but so it's pretty hard for them to understand the breakthroughs that we have as a band unless I tell them, like, okay, so we were in the biggest magazine in the UK yesterday. And they're like, oh, that's really, really cool. But apart from that, it's like, it's very hard for them to keep up with it. And yeah, like there's so many cool things that's happened now during this album era that most of my friends or family won't ever understand what they mean to me. Like, so when we released Holy Water, or it was a bit like 2, 3 months after that, when we released, and I haven't really talked about this too much because it's something that I don't want to be braggy about, but it's like, so Jordan Fish from Bring Me the Horizon texted me and was like, I love the new songs and the new sound. It sounds amazing. And then Dan Lancaster did the same thing, who's mixed two of his mixed like Ammo and That's the Spirit, I think. And that's like, to me, that's probably more worth than any like album charts or anything like that. And I haven't really been, because I don't feel like that's him telling me that he enjoyed our stuff, and I don't want to go name drop him everywhere. So but when I told my parents about it, it was just like, who's that? That's cool. So it's stuff like that that we can have like huge breakthroughs, but it's not gonna be anything to them. They just like that I do what I want to do in my life, and they support me in that way.
But it'll always be special to you. And I think that's also worth a lot because you don't need to go around telling everybody, oh yeah, this happened, that person
Nah,
did that to me, because like you can be like,
exactly.
this is something I did. They appreciate
Yeah,
me for my craft. And obviously they are probably people you also look up to, like on a
yeah,
creative level a lot. And getting
yeah,
praise in whatever way, shape, or form is just like this moment where you're like, wow, people care. They see what I'm doing.
yeah. And especially with like mixing it for the first time, and that's the time when we get praise for the mix and the production. It's like, yeah, okay, good on us, good for me that we actually decided to do this. It means everything, so that's pretty cool.
And besides like that, obviously, and getting mentions by Kerrang and whatnot, what were
Yeah.
other moments where you were like, what, how is this happening?
Uh, I mean, all the charts that we ended up on, like #1 in so many countries. I mean, it's iTunes, which is probably not it's not the biggest platform today, but to be #1 in a country is still pretty big. And as well as like in Czech Republic, it's been pretty crazy. We've been on the top 100 like overall, next to The Weeknd and Ed Sheeran and all
Harry
that, like top.
Styles. Once you were above Harry Styles on that
Yeah.
thing, I was like, yes, yes.
Yeah, we were on that for about 10 weeks, and now today we noticed that we are number 35 on Shazam in that entire country, which means that somewhere in Czech Republic people are going like, what song is this? And listening for our song, and we're number 35, just underneath the biggest song of the entire year, which was 24 Golden Mood, which is like, yeah, that's mind blowing. And I mean, the 5-page interview in Rock Sound magazine was huge as well. Like 5 pages is something that I don't think a Swedish band has ever done that, and that's pretty big to me. And there's
European.
been like small things like that, and small shout outs, and like doing podcasts with um different. I'm not gonna keep name dropping, but it's like, yeah, it's just nice. It feels cool.
But it's really nice, like looking from a fan perspective or from someone that's like followed you in your music for so long. It's so nice to see you guys get like all of that recognition, because you do put in so much work, and it's crazy. You're also all so humble, and you like talk to
I
all
don't
of
know.
us. I'm like, how do you even do that? Like I stress out over having like 20 DMs on my phone. I'm like, oh my god, I'm never gonna get round to
Yeah,
everybody. And your phones are probably going like ding 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 all
yeah,
day.
I'm trying to keep it healthy as much as possible, and like do it for half an hour and then not doing it for about 7 hours. But that's also good with the inner circle that we have, where it's like sometimes people don't go to social media to tag us in a post. They rather just go into that group and be like, this is what I did today, or this is, I thought about this today, which means that I don't have to think about all the different social medias. I
Yeah,
can just sometimes drop into the inner circle and be like, I wonder what these people are up to.
yeah, a lot of
And that's pretty
memes.
nice as well.
I
It's
think
a lot of memes, yeah.
the inner circle is like a good mixture of like memes, but also like some proper like deep talk conversations and people sharing their personal stories. It's actually quite beautiful because
Yeah,
that's one of the amazing things that music does. It provides such a platform that you can identify with, that you can connect your own story with, and then through that share experiences. That's also something I always look for when I do my videos or like with my channel, because I feel like there's so much more to music than just the song. There's
mm,
everything around it. And like
yeah.
having that or having a place where people can share that is just really cool.
It's been a missing piece for us for a long while. Like as we come from Sweden and most of our fan base isn't from here, it's been very hard for us to maintain that connection in between tours. And we haven't been the best on social media. We haven't really used any hashtags for about 5 years, and like no follow for follows and stuff like that. So we haven't really been able to build a tight social media presence. So instead of trying to be the biggest band that we can be on Instagram, we're trying to be the most connected band that we can be in that inner circle. And hopefully that pays off in another way.
I'm sure it will. And I, to be honest, with all the bands I know that are like your size or even a bit smaller, a bit bigger, I don't know any band that interacts with their fans that much and on such a personal level as well. So that's
Okay.
definitely working out.
Okay. I mean, there's no way to measure that for me because I'm not part of any other band's
Well,
inner
here
circle.
you go. I'm just giving you some exclusive
Okay.
insight.
That's cool. That's good to know.
So what's next for you guys then before tour? Just rehearsing?
We're just gonna rehearse. I'm probably gonna look into, well, I'm gonna do these 10 uh, deep dives into the production and mix. I'm gonna see when I start doing that. It's not gonna be in a hurry, I guess. And then we're probably gonna do something like 1 week at a time, go into depth of that song because there's 10 songs on the album, so we can have 10 weeks of Dark and Beautiful Secrets where we deep dive and like have behind the scenes videos or photos when we wrote that song and like stories and like really push that. And I'm probably gonna look into doing alternative versions, maybe plain acoustic or doing something weirder. We'll see where we end up because it's good to also have like an acoustic set that we can bring on tour if we go to a radio station or something like that. So
Yeah,
we're probably gonna go deeper into some acoustics as well.
six would be cool. And I mean, for White Flag, he also did like these remixed, reimagined versions as well.
Mm,
I mean,
yeah.
pretty cool as well for like a more of a chill vibe. So I wouldn't complain having something like that for Dark and Beautiful Secrets. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I like what we did with White Flag Reimagined, but I also think that it was a bit too like I enjoy doing it so spread out with like a drum and bass version and like a with a cool drop and then a piano version. But I also want to do like stick to a concept. So if we do a reimagined acoustic version of the songs, I want people to be able to play that entire thing and like have it be as relaxed and cool so people can actually listen through that as well. Um, I think that's probably what we will do, and then maybe add some remixes towards the end of that as well. Maybe if we feel like it. But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. But we most important, we've started writing the next album, which feels really cool. And if we have some ideas that we cannot get out of our heads, which is pretty cool, to already have that. So we have about 2 ideas that we cannot let go. They
nice.
might be singles on the next album. We don't even
Oh,
know yet. So
but that's
they're
great
really strong.
that it's
They're
like
really
all
strong.
happening so natural. That's the way it
Yeah, I
should be,
think so.
authentic and natural.
Stay inspired probably. Like I'm inspired by the process that we're releasing this album, and that kind of inspires me to keep writing. And also like to have this album out where we tried some really risky things but people seem to really back those ideas. It makes me more excited to try different things on the next album as well. So bossa nova or jazz. coming up. I don't know. We'll
I
see what
mean,
comes
who
up.
knows? Or like disco tunes. I mean, you've
Yeah,
kind of referenced like 80s synths a little bit in other songs before, so who knows?
yeah.
Maybe we'll have like an 80s dance album by Normandie.
Yeah, I'm a lot into like 90s grunge at the moment with some everything from Nirvana to really old Foo Fighters and stuff like that. And like UK garage 90s is weird, but it makes so much sense to fit that with Normandy right now. So I'm gonna see if I can make that work first, and then I'll see what happens. That's usually the process. It's like this is weird and this is Normandy. Can I get them to work? We'll see what happens.
So basically, Normandy is weird. That's what you're saying. Is that the takeaway
Normandy,
for everybody regarding Normandy and the album?
we're never gonna be boring. I can just say that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to let you go soon, probably, because I don't want to keep you too long.
Yeah, I have another other interview in 2 minutes, actually.
Okay, then how about like a quick closing statement, maybe? What do you
Yeah.
want people to take away from Dark and Beautiful Secrets?
I'll try to quick, but if I want people to go through kind of the same experience that I have, where it's like I've tried so many ways of being myself that I ended up being myself in a way. Like I've tried being this, I've tried being that, I've tried having these kind of friends, I've tried having these kind of friends, and it's nothing wrong with being a chameleon and really trying your way out. Like you don't have to be in a hurry to become fulfilled and find yourself. You can keep trying and being different things. And then at the end of the day, I think you should sit back and be like, okay, what do I like about this? What do I like about feminism? What do I like about socialism? What do I like about flat earthism? What do I like about this and that? And then you build yourself from that instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to be a socialist and that's all I'm going to be, because then you lose yourself. As soon as that idea goes away, you're going to be left with nothing, like I was when I left religion. So I think instead of building myself as a religious person, I wanted to build myself as me that might have faith, and I might believe in this and I might believe in that. So that's what I want people to take away from this.
Well, that's 5 golden stars for you for that closing statement.
Cool.
Thank you so much for taking the time and coming
No
on
worries.
that.
It was very fun, and I love what you do.
Thank
I
you.
really like it.
That means a lot, and I really appreciate like all of your support so much. Like it literally means the world, and it's definitely helped me realize that this is the kind of stuff I want to do. And
Great.
2021 and 2020 made me realize I want to go into the music industry, which is the worst time to realize that.
It's the worst industry ever. I
Ironic.
know. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah,
Let's go down.
Let's go down with this ship. All right, I'll let you go down to your next interview now.
Yes, no worries. Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.